Hey there folks, আশা করি সবাই ভালো আছেন। CodeInception ইভেন্টের আজকের সেশনটি হবে ওয়েব ডিজাইনিং নিয়ে। এটি এখনো পর্যন্ত সবচেয়ে বেশি রিকোয়েস্টেড ভিডিও। আশা করি এই ভিডিওটি দেখে আপনারা নতুন অনেক কিছু জানতে পারবেন। সো আর দেরি না করে লেটস গেট স্টার্টেড।
Hello everyone. Today, in this session, we will talk about getting started with web design. I will explain this topic by answering some questions and also sharing some tips and tricks with you folks so that you could improve your design skills. Sponsored by CodeInception. In today's agenda, we have what is web designing versus front-end development, how to connect web designs with web development, why should we learn web designing, are design skills only important for websites, what are the principles of web designing, a practical guide to beautify your design, some best resources to learn web designing, and some of the best designing tools to work with. Before I'm going to start talking about each of the topics, let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Cas Martens, and I'm from the Netherlands. I'm an UI/UX designer and web developer. I'm very passionate about creating web applications by combining my design skills and coding ability. JavaScript is one of my favorite programming languages. On further note, you can connect with me on LinkedIn or Discord if you need any help or if you have any more questions. So the first question we have here is, what is web design? And basically, web design refers to the design of websites that are displayed on the internet. A web designer works on the appearance, layout, and in some cases, the content of the website. However, a web designer also thinks about the user experience, in short UX, which basically means how visitors use and interact with the website. Our next topic is going to be the difference between web designing and front-end development. In short, the difference is that web design is the design of the page layout, every visual aspect of it, for example the text, images, buttons, scroll bar, etc. Front-end development is converting that design into a piece of code like HTML styled with CSS. On to the next topic we have how to connect web designs with web development. To connect web designs with web development is not that hard. There are a few things or tools that you need, such as a prototyping tool like Figma or Adobe XD, a code editor like Visual Studio Code or Atom, but those are a minor set of options. When you have a design and want to convert it into front-end code, it usually is a smart plan to keep the prototype open so you can see the result and compare it with how it looks on the web. In the prototyping tool you start with a design. In a code editor you write your HTML and CSS code, and in the internet browser you see your design getting converted to a real website. So before starting to learn about web design, many of you should have a common question. Why should we learn web design? And that's best to explain with an actual image. For example, which one looks more appealing? The left, doesn't it? That is because it's easier to use on our eyes. You can scan through the page knowing where everything is and what you need to have. On the right side, however, it's not clear what you need to have. Next to that, more items are displayed, trying to get your eyes' attention. So, are design skills only important for websites? And the short answer is no. Design skills are not only important for websites. That is because everything around us is designed. The chair you sit in, the laptop or computer you work on, it all has been designed. However, the words UI and UX refer to a website or an application, since those stand for user interface and user experience. Our next topic is what are the principles of web design. This topic is converted into a few minor categories such as color, contrast, white space, and visual hierarchy. So let's start with color. Oftentimes, colors are chosen based on a logo's color, but these colors are based on color psychology. Red gives a different feeling than black, for example. So using colors in your design is a way to tell people what kind of business, person or application you are and what you value. If you value trust, blue or green could work very well, for example. I will share some links in the description section so that you can learn more about color psychology. Next on we have contrast. Contrast is one of the most important things, and a short reason for that is that everything needs to be readable. Using dark toned text on a dark background is not readable. This is meant with contrast. As seen on the presentation, we have a very clear contrast, using black text on a white background and white text on a dark gray background. This is very clear contrast. Next on we have white space. In general, most non-designers and beginning designers are afraid of white space, thinking everything needs to contain something. However, this often comes across as clumsy and too busy. Take a look at the example in the presentation. Which one is more readable? The left one, isn't it? And why do you think that is? Correct answer, white space. With a very little amount of effort, the design already looks a lot better. And besides looking a bit better, it's also more readable. You have the heading, the paragraph text on the left, which has a bit more space for each sentence, which leads us that it's more easier to read than the right paragraph. But what about images and objects? Well, let's take a look at that as well. On the presentation, we have two images, one on the left and one on the right. On the left image, our eyes keep jumping from object to object, not knowing what to focus on. If we would implement white space seen on the right image, compared to other visual aspects, it gives us a pattern to look at. The brand, the title, the text, the button, and then the light bulb. This result is more soothing and pleasing to our eyes. You can learn more about white spaces by reading some informational articles. I will share the articles direct links in the description section. Next on we have typography, which is very important as well. Typography is the use of type in design. It seeks to create greater meaning by thoughtful and deliberate selection of font, size, color, layout, alignment, and other factors that affect the design of type on a page. There are two major classifications of fonts to choose from, serif and sans serif fonts. Serif fonts, seen on top in the presentation, have serifs or extra embellishments at the end of strokes. Some call them feet or tails, those extra embellishments. Serif fonts are mostly used for informational purposes, like a newspaper and school textbooks. Sans serif fonts are without serifs. No extra details are found on the end of each letter, making it a very good font type for screens. Sans serif fonts are the bottom ones. The articles I wanted to share about typography are in the description. Don't forget to read them in order to increase the knowledge on typography, because serif fonts and sans serif fonts aren't the only ones out there. Next up we have visual hierarchy. This is a strange topic. Simply stated, visual hierarchy is the way our eyes follow a design This is done with color, size, white space and positioning, and other visual aspects. To create a good visual hierarchy, it's good to keep in mind that the element that needs to be the most important needs to be the first place the visitor's eyes go to. This can be achieved to give it more space, make it bigger, use different font styles, or even a different color. In the presentation, we have a very good example. The lines on the image are stated what you will read first. The big text, you'll read this first, is what draws our eyes' attention. And down below is a line which is smaller than the first line, but bigger than the paragraph on the right top. So in order it goes, you'll read this first, and then you will read this line next. That's why you hire a professional. There is something strange with that third sentence we read. There is a paragraph with dark text on a dark background, but that's done with purpose. They want to let our eyes consume. That's why you hire a professional. So in order it goes, you'll read this first, and then you'll read this line next. That's why you hire a professional, completely forgetting about the paragraph before it. Now let us see to give a practical guide to beautify your design. We will start off with why the right screen is poorly designed, in my opinion. So from my perspective, what I see is that the text above and under the images are very poor in contrast, which results in visitors that don't read. After that, I see no clear color palette. We have green, bright and dark red, blue and dark gray. So it's not clear what color palette they use, or even if they have a brand identity. On the left image, however, I see a very good contrast of elements using black text on white background and white text on a darker background. I also see much more information and a more modern looking design, and different images that are clear, and a very good color palette, using only green and yellow as their identity. So why is it important to have a more modern looking design? It's for one simple reason. We are in a modern age, and people constantly want to see more modern looking websites. It sends a value of trust and that it's a secure website, because more older looking websites are most of the time not secured. Now that you know what web designing is and why it is important and some of its principles, you are probably wondering about what are the best resources to learn web designing. Besides that there are courses online and tutorials on YouTube, the best way to learn it is still by doing it. Of course, watching some tutorials and doing some courses help, but eventually you need to practice it. It's not a natural skill. Next to practicing and using tutorials, it's also good to read and learn about web design trends or design trends to make your designs more modern and trendy. There are some places I myself use to learn web design. One of them is a YouTuber called Design Course. It's basically all about web design and HTML and CSS. A second one are web design internships. Yes, real working experience. It does help a ton. Even if you aren't familiar with internships, just try it out once. Internships are very good for learning real life experience. You get real clients where you have to make a product for. Improving your skills by using your co-workers as a way of feedback asking, and your clients that give their feedback what they want on the website. Now there are some places that I heard about web design. simple stated Udemy, which is an online learning course, and they also have courses for web design, and Tuts, which is the same as Udemy, and Flux, which is a YouTube channel for web design. Do not worry though, all the links of the resources are in the description, so you can start your web design journey today by going through these resources. Our last topic of today is what are some of the best designing tools to work with. A prototyping tool like Figma or Adobe XD is the most important for this. You can create a design for the web in an illustration program or with a drawing, but when you use a prototyping tool, you can use hover effects and animations to see the result on how it would interact on a real life website. Other than that, you could also use photo editing software to reduce image sizes, illustration software to create illustrations, which are also useful for editing using SVG files downloaded from the internet. So, what is my conclusion? My conclusion is that web design takes a lot of effort, practice, feedback asking, and research. However, it does pay off. A modern, good design attracts more than a bad design or older designed website. To create a good design, you need consistency in almost every visual aspect, like color, white space, typography, etc. Do remember though, that not everyone might like your design, but that's nothing to worry about. Design is opinion based. With that said, we have come to the end of today's session. Thank you folks for being a good audience. If you have any kind of problems, don't hesitate to ask me on my LinkedIn or Discord, or even in the comment section of this video. I will try my best to answer those.
থ্যাঙ্কস ফর ওয়াচিং ফোকস। আমাদের এই ইভেন্টটিতে কোলাব করেছে দুইটি পার্টনার অর্গানাইজেশন, তারা হলো ব্যাশ ওমেন কমিউনিটি এবং ভিশন গ্রিন অর্গানাইজেশন। আমাদের পার্টনার অর্গানাইজেশনগুলো খুবই সাপোর্টিভ কিছু ইনিশিয়েটিভস গ্রহণ করেছে, সুতরাং প্লিজ তাদের সাইটগুলো দেখুন এবং দেখুন তারা কী সার্ভিসেস প্রোভাইড করছে, কী ইনিশিয়েটিভ গ্রহণ করেছে। এটি শুধু আমাদের অর্গানাইজেশন বা তাদের অর্গানাইজেশনের জন্যই নয়, বরং আপনার জন্য খুবই সহায়ক হবে। সকল লিঙ্ক আপনারা ভিডিওর ডেসক্রিপশনে পেয়ে যাবেন। Thanks again for watching. Join our Discord server to support our mission of creating the first ever developer community of Bangladesh. If this video was helpful, please leave a like, subscribe to our channel for watching amazing programming related contents in the future.